across the world, different ways to lead,
Different voices giving what you need.
different angles, different views, all bringing something you can use.
From every corner, hear the call. Level up now, give it your all.
Mind, body, business, elevate, new perspective, shift your state. This is Coaching Call.
With Sifu Rafael. Sifu Rafael.
Sifu.
Rafael.
Different paths, different minds, take what works, leave what doesn't align. Every voice brings something new, now the choice is up to you. Take the insight, make it real, turn the vision into skill.
From every corner, hear the call.
Step into it,
Stand up tall. From every corner, hear the call.
step into it.
Stand up tall. Coaching Call with Sifu Rafael. Sifu Rafael.
Jackie, good morning. Thank you so much for being on Coaching Call. How are you today?
I'm doing well. So happy to be here, and it's great to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Wasn't that a fun video? I just
Right,
created
it
that
got me
one.
dancing already. I'm really upbeat. That was neat.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about where were you born? And
Yeah,
who would you say, who influenced you before the age of, say, 15?
Oh gosh, lots of people. I come from a long line of strong, independent women, for sure. Let's see. I was born in Niagara region in Ontario, Canada, and I've lived here my entire life, which is a wonderful place to grow up. And I'm here because of my heritage, where my grandparents, both sets of my grandparents, were immigrants. They came from Europe. One set, my dad's side came from Poland. My mother's side came from Ukraine. And neither one of them knew a word of English. Neither one of them had a dollar to their name. And they came looking for a better life, like many, many Europeans did in that early 1940s, 1950s. And they just had to come and make a living, and they learned to work hard and dedicate their whole life to raising their family and making things work for themselves. So I think there's lots to explore within there. I'm not sure how far you want me to go with that.
No, it's incredible because if you, and even the topic for today's show is screen time silencing our kids? But there was no screen time when your grandparents came over, right? Zero screen time. They probably didn't even fully watch television like so many people did when it started coming back into being more popular in the 70s, 80s, 90s. So there was really no screen time. So talk to us about maybe even their life and how they impacted you if you were able to spend time with them.
Oh, they were huge influences on my life for sure. My dad's parents, they came in, started a bakery, and so very successful business. Unfortunately, a couple of years after their fifth child was born, my grandfather dropped dead of a heart attack at 39. And so my grandmother was left to raise five children and run the business, and still didn't learn any English at that time. So that was an incredibly hard life for her. But the family all chipped in and worked hard. And then my dad got older, when he got married my mom at 25, he took over the business, which was great for, my grandmother could set back a bit. And then my mom's parents, they came and they bought a farm. And so I had this really great experience of growing up half in the city and half in the country. And there was, similar lessons of good hard work ethic that I developed between both of those places, for sure. My mom was a very influential person because she was just, there's no bones about her. She was a straight shooter. She was too busy to worry about any other nonsense, because she was a nurse. And so she was working in the emergency room, in the operating room. Then she was teaching nursing. Then she was making donuts at 5 a.m. for the bakery. And then my dad became disabled when he was 35. And so she ended up taking care of him until he passed away at an early age. So kind of a repeat of my grandmother's situation. And so, just that sense of everybody has to pitch in. My brother, my whole family worked in the bakery, and my mom's mom from the farm, she came and worked in the bakery with us as well. And if I had to pick one person who influenced me the most, I would say it was her, my mom's mom. Yeah, she was a really special kind of lady for sure. And I think the opportunities to be on the farm for one. I think, have you ever spent time on a farm, Sifu?
I have.
Have you? Yeah. It's really hard work. And there are so many life lessons to be learned from the farm. And I think that really crafted my work ethic, because it's so predictable. You have to learn to give up control. You can't control weather. You can't control the unpredictability of the animals, their health. There's just so much that is out of your control, and so much unpredictability on the farm that you've got a heifer about to give birth for the first time. She's out in the middle of the field. Oh, her head is stuck in barbed wire. Where's the cow? We had to go and get her, bring her back in. Oh, the calf is breech. Okay, get a rope. We got to figure out what we're gonna do. The resiliency that you build up, because there's so much about the farm that's relentless. If you don't consistently weed after you've sown, and then you have to water. It just keeps coming. It's just so repetitive, and if you don't keep up, things are going to die. And even the animals, because we had everything. We had sheep, we had horses, we had cows, we had chickens. You had to get up in the morning. You had to feed them. You had to milk the cow. They depend on you to make sure they're well fed, to make sure that they've been taken care of. But then you also reap what you sow, right? So
I got to be honest with you. Really, when you ask me if I've been on a farm, yes, but I was a toddler.
oh,
I didn't experience it the way you did. I experienced it, as I recall, my older brothers standing on horses with baskets around their feet and getting stuff. And it was pretty interesting. And I remember one time I went into a basket and just ate everything and got super sick, right?
what was in the basket?
I think it was berries or something like that,
Okay.
or apples, or I don't remember, right? But I remember that I got sick because I ate whatever, as much as I could from the basket, right? So that's my memory of a farm, right? And that was in Colombia, South America.
Oh.
If you will, I'm an immigrant, right? I came to this country when I was 8 years old. So for me, not knowing the language, I can only imagine what your grandparents went through without knowing the language. Your grandma, after taking care of 5 kids, not knowing the language, and still running a business. And you said have to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Would it have been easier for her had she known the language? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, right? So for me, it was difficult because no one, and I expected when I came to this country, I thought everybody was going to speak Spanish. What did I know? Nobody spoke Spanish. The school I went to, nobody spoke Spanish. The teachers, the students, nobody. So I got bullied. Nobody understood me. I didn't understand them. So there was a lot of different things. But this is what being an immigrant is for so many people if they don't speak the language, because it's hard to communicate. And as a communicator yourself, you know that the words matter. How we use the words are truly, truly important. And so one of the topics that we're talking about today is screen time, right? we've come to an age where screen time is kidnapping our youngsters. I say kidnapping is because they don't even hear you when they're on their cell phones. I see it left and right. When a kid's playing a game or a teenager's on TikTok or whatnot, they're constantly so ingrained as to what's happening in the life that's not real. They get engulfed. But before we get into all of that, because I know you're very well versed on this, let's continue talking about you. What was your life like? Did you work in the bakery? You said everybody did. What was it like for you growing up, seeing all these different things? And you talked about the farm and the city and the bakery. What was it like for Jackie?
Yeah, I looking back, I had an incredible upbringing, an incredible childhood. We were a middle class family, raised through the Catholic school system, went to church every Sunday, had so much family time. That was really just the biggest thing for me because my parents were just so busy with the bakery and all my aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody was there. We actually didn't really spend much time outside of the family. I didn't go to the mall with my friends or anything like that. I don't even remember if that was a thing when I was that little, but it was just all about the work. But we had a lot of fun. My mom always made sure that we did have fun, especially my grandmother. She was always playing games and whatnot while we were working. But it's when you own your own business, similar to the farm, everything relies on you. And so if I did have piano lessons. I remember coming home. I had to be in the bakery at 8 o'clock every night because I made what we called the sponge or the starter for the next day. And so I had to get that mixed up. So it didn't matter if I had something really important to do once in a while, I could ask my brother or sister to step in for me. But that was my job. I had to start the starter, the sponge we called it, and we specialized in rye bread. And so you learned that it never stops. And people would say, "Oh, must be nice to own your own business. You get to eat donuts whenever you like." And I just thought, I don't even really like donuts, and you have no idea that's not what it is about at all, because they just couldn't see, because we didn't really have anybody else in there but besides family. And so I think about how I learned that balance between that working hard, but also having fun, and how both sides, the bakery and the farm, what the way that you navigate, the way that you work with people, that all influences your outcome. And so if you wanted better crops and healthier animals, you had to put more effort into working with those things in order to get those results. If we wanted to get out faster from doing whatever job we were doing at the bakery, we had to work in conjunction with each other. We couldn't be fighting. We couldn't be upset. I don't want to do this today. She's always doing that. So there was lots of negotiating and making things move at a pace that we had productivity, and we had a really good quality bakery. Oh my gosh, people to this day, we sold it in 1992. And to this day, I'm still running into people that say, "Oh my gosh, Kita's Bakery. Well, I remember that." And so, I think back to your earlier question about somebody that influenced me early on. And I think my grandmother from the farm, who was also in the bakery, she was there. I have this, great memory that seems like it was yesterday. And one of my jobs that I had to do was, when the buns came out of the oven in a pan, they'd have this black stuff like carbon on the side of them. And so one of my jobs was to scrape the carbon off, then pack them in a dozen. And then we had this sticky twist tie machine. You had to click in, we called it the clicker, and tie them up and then put them in. And there'd be like 100 dozen buns. There's so much work. I hated this job. Just I get black stuff all over my hand, and sometimes it wouldn't come off. And so one particular day I was doing this, my grandmother came in and she came right to the boxes, and I was 3/4 of the way done the load. And she started picking up the bags of the dozen and looking at them. And I could feel my heart sinking, and I could see the look of disappointment on her face. And she picked up a few more, and she didn't yell because she never yelled, never raised her voice ever. And she looked at me and she said, you know, your name is on every single one of these packages. And the message that you're sending to every single person that buys one of these packages is that this is your best work. And I just could feel like the knife in my heart. And she said, so is that the message that you want to send to these people? And I looked down sheepishly. I said, no. And she said, guess what? You have the opportunity now to redo that message while I go in the house to make lunch. Took me a lot longer. The lunch was long ready before I could go eat it, because it took me a long time to go and do it. And at the time, I think I felt horrible because I had disappointed my grandmother. Really, like that was it. But I also could feel this reaction to, ooh, yeah, no, that's right. My name literally was on the bag because it said Kita's Bakery, and that was my name. So I know she meant like me personally for every bag, but I just thought, wow, that as I look back, I think I've continued to glean messages from and learnings and opportunities from that instance, because it taught me about pride. Now, having some pride in my work and my integrity. Are people going to question me because my work isn't that good? Or are they going to trust me to think, wow, this is great? Or are they going to say, oh, wow, if they can't even hit that little, this is, this a small thing. What are they missing with the big things? Or it was just, just so many life lessons. And then on top of it, to know that I'm crafting my own message. Every little piece of work, no matter if somebody's watching or not watching, that is what is I'm sending that message about who I am. And so I think that message has influenced me more than probably anything in my life.
I have to agree with Danny. And the reason you and I met was because of his event in Niagara Falls, right? And what a powerful time it was for us to meet. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the connection that we've had, and we've reached out to each other back and forth. And Danny is a powerful person himself. And Danny, thank you for joining us. And yes, that story was powerful. I got to tell you, it just goes to show the brilliance of your grandmother and why you revered her so much. Mm-hmm. Because she could have yelled. She could have said, it's not right. Do it again, right? But she asks you to think deeper. She asks you to consider what your message was, what people will think later on, and why they would want to be part of getting more deliveries, getting those packages again, because the care that went into them. And that was really, and Danny said it beautifully, powerful. Yeah, so Daniel Poland, yeah, I got to tell you, yes. Think about that, right?
Yeah, it really
today, right?
Sorry?
That lesson, you still carry it with you till today.
Oh, 100%. And it's, it evolves as well as not only crafting my own message, but makes you realize that, I could have had every intent, and I had better days, but people don't see the intent that you have, that I wanted to do a really good job. I just couldn't that day. All they see is your effort. And I think that really resonates with me all the time. And it goes hand in hand with my one of my really strong principles about integrity is you do what you say you're going to do, because you might have the best intentions of going to visit somebody because they're sick. But then you think, oh, you know what? It's a nice day outside today. I think I'm going to go work in the garden instead. But I really thought about it. I really wanted to go see you, Sifu. I knew that you had an operation. I wanted to go see you. But, I couldn't get there. You have no idea what my intent was, and I had some good thoughts. So if you don't act on those intents, then they're futile. People see your effort, and they need to learn to trust you. One of my favorite books that I had read, I gleaned a message out of that about making deposits into your bank of integrity. And that every time you do one of those small things, you remember to ask somebody how their mother is doing. You drop off a pie because just because it's Sunday and you wanted to say hello to somebody, or you offered to pick up groceries for your aunt. All of those things you're putting in your deposits, and people are remembering you. They can trust you. You're reliable. Or if I say I'm going to be there on Thursday at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be there Thursday at 5 o'clock, because that's really important to me. And so I think all of those, who I am, all stems back to those lessons from the bakery and the farm. No question.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And for anybody listening, gosh, what valuable insights your grandmother shared with you. I'm sure there were many more. But
there's so many, Sifu. I'm writing a book about it.
I got to tell you that was so powerful, because like we both know, someone else may have told you to redo it without an explanation, without making you think about it. Right? And that's powerful. It's the way we help somebody elevate who they are. And she did that for you. And I love that. That's a great story. And Gabby also said that was a great story. Thank you for sharing it, Jackie.
My pleasure. It's a powerful one. It stuck with me for many, many years, and I'm still learning and evolving from it today.
You probably need to write a book about your grandma.
I already have the title.
Woo! All right. Good to hear it. What is it? Can you tell us?
Should I tell you? Keep an eye out for
It's
it.
up to you.
Don't want anybody to steal it. It's called Leadership Lessons from a Hoe.
Leadership lessons from a what?
A hoe.
A hoe? H-O?
Hoe, the hoe that you hoe in the farm with weeding the gardens. But it is a little bit of a play on words. And there'll be a picture of my grandmother holding her hoe on the farm.
Yeah. There's no way anybody can steal that title. You know why?
Why?
Because nobody had your grandma except you. I mean, your brothers or sisters could, but
I already ran it by them to make sure. I said we would call her Baba,
good, right?
because it was Ukrainian, and I said they agreed that she would find that funny.
So guess who wants to buy your book?
Gabby's going to be there to buy it.
Yeah. So Gabby lives up by you as well. You girls need to get together.
Wow. Whereabouts are you? Is Gabby? Do you know, Sifu? Is she in?
Gabby's going to let us know in the chat. Right?
Oh, yeah, great.
Because she was upset that she didn't go to the event that you and I met.
Oh, that's so
Gabby, we, in everybody's defense, we sometimes don't know who needs to come to an event. But guess what? I'm inviting you to my events. How's that, Gabby? So we have an event May 15th through the 17th here in New York, and I have another one in September September 25th through the 27th in Atlanta, Georgia. So right now I'm inviting you both, and I'm inviting anyone listening to join us at either one of the events. So reach out to me. I'll give you more info.
That's
So would you mind telling us another incredible story about your grandma? I am loving your grandma.
Oh my gosh, sure. Let's see. She had more. She was a
Toronto, Ontario. See, she lives by
oh,
you.
she's from Toronto. Yeah. So I'm in Niagara, Gabby, so not far. My grandmother's full of life. She loved, sorry? Oh, that
No.
was her talking. She was full of life. She worked incredibly hard. I think she got about 4 hours sleep a night, because she would get up. Because my dad was so ill so early when we were really little before he passed away, my grandmother was there in the morning when we woke up, and she got us dressed. She fed us breakfast. We came home for lunch. She had dinner on the table. Then my mom would come home exhausted and then get us ready for bed. In the summer and every weekend, my grandfather picked us up and we were on the farm. While we were little. In between, Sunday was our big bakery day. We had to always be there Sunday, but we spent equal time. And so she would go to the horse races and to the bingo. Those were her two pleasure things. And every night she had half a glass of beer with half a glass of water and one ice cube. That was her treat at the end of the day. She would take a break for maybe an hour. She never watched TV. She'd be up washing the floors at 3 a.m. She was just a real go-getter. And I remember she would say things like, "Your life is as good as you think it is." Again, another super powerful message. Hey, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about your life. Some people could think you have a great life and you hate your life. Some people could think your life is so amazing and it is or it isn't. It goes back and forth, and it doesn't matter. You don't hold your standard to anybody else. It's whatever you feel your life is, and that's as good as it is. And if you don't like it, change it.
Yeah. It's almost thinking of, I don't care what you think about me. I care about what I think about me. And then it made me think of Bette Midler when she said, enough talk about me. What do you think about me? So
that's funny.
Yeah,
other
that
thing,
was a great line.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
My grandmother would also say, this is one my kids can tell you blindfolded, that because I told them all the time, that you are not better than anybody else, and nobody is better than you. That juxtaposition of the humbleness to the confidence in that one statement was so impactful to me, because it made you realize, if you saw somebody that was doing something or had something, and right away, I remember thinking, well, you're no better than I am. Just because you got to do that, it doesn't make you better than me. And yet at the same time, when I needed to achieve something and I was worried, oh, can I do this? And I would remember, oh, you know what? Yeah, nobody's better than me. I can do this, but don't get cocky, because you're not better than anybody else. So a lot of humility there too.
Yeah. It reminded me when I was a kid, I saw this young man getting into a car and driving. I don't remember the car, but I said, one day I'm going to have my own car too. That's all I said. It didn't matter the type of car. I said, when I get to a point, I'm going to have my own car. I've had many cars, right? But it was that ambition back then. And at that point, I remember I was 10 years old and I was already working.
Yeah.
And I was working, cleaning a bingo hall. I didn't see your grandma there because it was a different bingo hall. But that was my first job, working in a bingo hall at 10 years old.
At 10. Mm-hmm. I couldn't. People ask me, how old were you when you started working? And I always say, I have no idea, because when I could walk, I was pushing a broom in the bakery, or I was picking raspberries in a field. Like my whole life, there was never a time that I started to work.
So, how was school for you, Jackie, sorry, not Jack. How was school for you growing up? Because you knew that you had to do work. You had to be at the farm. You had to be at the bakery. And you said you really didn't go out with your friends to the mall because family was first, working was there. So how was schooling for you?
That's a really good question, Sifu. It was it was fine. Um, I was not as academic, not as smart as my brother and my sister. They got my mom's math brain and problem solving brain and her memory. My mom had a phenomenal memory and mine's terrible. And both my brother and sister are that. So they didn't actually ever do homework. They wouldn't study for tests. They just flew through life because everything made sense to them. And I was constantly at the table, the dining room table, doing my homework or getting my sister to help me. She was 2 years older than I was, and particularly with math, physics, calculus. I took calculus, and I got a 49, and the teacher said, "This is in grade 12. Oh, I'm just going to pass you." And I said, "No, don't pass me. Let me take it again. Fail me so it doesn't show up on my transcript." So I took it again, and I still only got a 65 with another teacher. So, that part was tricky. And then when I got to university, we still had the bakery. And so I had to get up really early, and we delivered bread to grocery stores. And so we had this honking station wagon. So I would fill up the station wagon with the bread and buns, go to the grocery stores, leave them, and have to go to my 8:30 seminar, and then finish at 9:30 before my next class started at 12. And so that, it was a pretty tricky balance. But again, I didn't really think anything of it. And by the time I graduated, yes, we had sold it by the time I went on to go and do my master's. So yeah, it was. I had friends in high school, and good friends that I still have to this day. But again, we still didn't hang out in the malls. We went to the movies once in a while, and we didn't get paid to work in the bakery. We even when I was little, I remember at nighttime, my mom would put us on her bed. She had this big jar that was filled with nickels, dimes, and quarters. And at the end of the day, she dug her hand in and grabbed as much as she can and put it in a pile. Whatever she grabbed, that's what you got. That was your pay for the day. And I just remember thinking, oh, please let there be quarters. Please let there be quarters. And so, and it didn't matter. And that was it. That was fair. And you couldn't say, oh, Joe has 7 quarters and Joanne has 6 and I only have 2. Nope, there was none of that, because every day was different. It was all a different handful. And we would tell each other what we got. But yeah, and then we had our own piggy banks that we accumulated it in. So that was our big pay. And so on top of all the other things I told you, my mother said when I was 16, you need to go and start getting a real job, and you should do it in this connection through one of the grocery stores that I was delivering bread to. So I did. So I went and got a job in the bakery there to help them get started, and was training some of the new people. And so I only did it part-time, but I kept that until I got married. Even after we sold our business, because I knew I couldn't do that. It was so hard work, Sifu. I knew I was destined to not be a baker for the rest of my life. I was so driven to be a speech pathologist that I didn't. My mama said, "Are you sure? Last chance. I got to sell the bakery now. I'm getting ready to retire. Do any of you want it?" And we all said no. My sister moved to California. My brother had moved to Toronto, and I said, "I'm staying here," but nope. no, sell it.
Nobody wanted to be a baker or a candlestick maker.
Mhm.
So,
Or the butcher.
what drove you to become a speech pathologist?
So my mom being a nurse, and on top of all those things that I told you about, she also was very much dedicated to her volunteer work. And so she was running hockey tournaments at Christmas time. We would have people come and stay at our house for weekends, the hockey players coming from all over the North America. And but she was sat on school board trustees. She was so busy, so she taught us very early that we had to give back and we had to volunteer. So she made us go to the hospital, and we did something called candy striping. I don't know if that's something that was even a thing in the US, probably, but we wore these horrible like hospital gowns that had red and white stripes that literally tied in the back, just like you were having a procedure done. And they were paper thin. And so we had to wear those, had a little cap on, and we would go up onto the floors. And depending upon which floor you got, your task was a little bit different. For the most part, we were giving out juice and water, magazines, propping people's pillows, picking, cleaning, sweeping a little bit. Or there had a floor of significantly disabled people who couldn't feed themselves, and so we would be special feeders as well for those people. And so one time I was there on the acute rehab floor, and this man had come in, and he was about 35, 38 years old, and he had been in a car accident, and he had a brain injury, and he couldn't talk. And his wife came in. She was there every time I went in. And a speech pathologist came in while I was there one day. And so I kind of hung around and watched her. And I found out that she came every Tuesday and Thursday. And so I would book it home from school, get up there because you had to be there at 4 o'clock. And then first come, first serve, you got to pick the floor you wanted to be on. So I was there early, and I got my floor and I got that room. Not sure about the service I gave to everybody else on the floor at that time because I was so enthralled with this speech pathologist. I watched her do these exercises and trying to get some voice onset with this man. And at the beginning, he was just like, wasn't there at all. You could just see it in his face. He was so zoned out. But over the weeks, I could see her really reaching him, and I could see his movements and his mouth start to come back. And one day I remember, I think I had piled 9 things of juice on the table, and he just had this sparkle in his eye. And the speech pathologist was being really encouraging, and I'm pouring water and hiding behind the flowers. And his wife got up to go, and he said, "Bye." And those were his first, I'm getting goosebumps again, just remembering the day. Those were the first words he had spoken in 6 weeks. She figured he was never going to talk again. And they screamed, I screamed, I yelled, everybody was, cheering on. And I just thought, that is what I'm going to do. That is what I want to do. Help people that like have some sort of gift. It was like a miracle that she was able to bring back and facilitate his speech. I didn't even know her name, but I knew I wanted to be her.
Wow. That's very powerful. That really, really is powerful. And to be inspired by visualizing it and then realizing I want to help people too. Right? Did you even know what it entailed for you to get involved?
No, but after I met her and saw her the first time, I went back to see my mom and told her about this great experience that I had seen. And she said, "Oh, okay, speech pathology, let me connect you." And my mom was very well connected. So she set up a meeting with me and a speech pathologist from the rehab center that was in town. So her name was Melanie, and I went to go and meet her. And she got me started. She said, "Okay, you got to go to university, get an undergraduate degree. Then you need a master's degree." So it's a 6-year process for me to get all my schooling done. And at the time, so this is going back 37 years ago. It was hard to, I mean, it's hard to get in now as well, but there were much less universities that had a master's program, and they took less students as well. And so I was fortunate enough to get into Buffalo State. So I went to school in New York. I was a SUNY grad.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share another video with you. What's happening in Atlanta? Take a look.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event, it's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds, a movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC experience, mastermind, where purpose is found.
Another fun song.
Love your marketing. That's great. Very catchy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's, we have so much fun at our events. Every time that we do something, we bring the right people, the right energy. And I think that's what makes our events a little bit different than most. Right?
Very good.
Yeah. So, Jackie, we've been talking about your life. And you understand, and we can get into it now, is screen time silencing our kids, and why is it so important for us to do something about it?
Yeah, it is really important. It's a really hot topic right now across the whole world, not just here. I was in Africa, in Uganda last year. They have the same issues there. Obviously less in the poorer regions, but I was blown away to see how much my talk resonated with them, experiencing the same things that the kids being on their phones. And I think it's a really wide topic. And we have people who aren't exposing their kids to screens at all. And then we have the exact other end of the spectrum where people are allowing their children, or just not noticing that their children are spending hours of time on screens. And they themselves are spending, as the caregiver, hours of time on their screens. And so screens are ubiquitous. They're everywhere you go. And we have to learn to control it. We have to put parameters. We have to put rules around the screen time for our children. It's imperative. They're not going to go away. We can't say, "Oh, we're just going to ignore it. No screens." That's not plausible anymore because of our society and the digital world. It's there to stay. So we have to get some control over it.
What drives me crazy is, I remember when I was young and I saw a carriage. There was like the little toys in the carriage and the little thing that they put in front is the kids playing with it. Now I don't see that. You know what I see? Tablets in the carriage. Tablets. But a 14-month-old on a tablet. I'm like, why? Or a two-year-old in a tablet. Why? Parents, those are the new babysitters, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to paint everybody with the same brush. because there are across the continuum, there's different levels of exposure. But we know that the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Canadian Pediatric Society, who I work with on their position statement for screen time, we're working hard to raise awareness in the public, but also to start doing advocacy at a political higher level, at an organization level, talking to those big corporations, your YouTubes, your Instagram, your Snapchats. And what are they doing? They're they have a business model where they want to attract the children and keep them engaged with content that's only just that it's not educational and it's not healthy. And so we have to put these rules in place at all levels of the system, not just with the parents. And I don't know if you've heard about Australia. They put a ban for social media platforms for all children under 16 years of age. Wow, that's wow. So we're watching them very closely to see how that turns out.
Do you know how they're going to monitor that? How are they going to enforce that? Especially if you have a kid who maybe is now 12 years old, but started screen time when they were 6 or 5.
There's so many different levels to it, hey, because exactly what you're just saying, you've got a child who the parents don't think there was anything wrong with it to begin with, and the child's exposed to it already. So now you've got the behavior issues of the pulling it back and the effects that it's going to have on their social connections that they've already made. So there's so many levels to contend with. We'll see how it unfolds. I know that they put a massive fine on the social media platforms. It's in the millions if they are caught exposing children. They have to go through some process of vetting before they allow them to use it. So it's multi-level, multifaceted, and I'm sure it'll evolve. It's still new. It's just in the fall that they rolled it out. So I'll be watching it closely to see how it comes. But in the meantime, I think the work that the AAP and the CPS are doing is really commendable, and focusing the CPS more on the parents and working with them. The AAP had more in their position statement about that advocacy and asking government to pay and invest in higher quality screen time, which was a really good avenue to do.
For example, I have 2 boys. One is 25, the other one is 21, about to be 22. I never, ever bought them an iPhone or an Android. I never gave them screen time, ever. I got divorced. My ex-wife, both my kids had cell phones from the age of 8 on. I never bought them an iPhone. If they broke their iPhone, it wasn't for me to fix it. It was not something I think they needed. She, for some reason, decided it was. I could not control her. So whatever happened when they were with her, it was up to her. I recall one day I took both my sons out to sushi. One of my sons is constantly on his phone, and I said, "You need to put that away. We're sitting down to eat. Put it away. Put it away." He put it down, and you can see he's looking down. He's looking down. I'm like, "Put it away. Put it away." He goes, "I got to go to the bathroom." I said, "Okay, leave your phone." He fought me left and right. "Why? I can't take my phone." I said, "Because you go into the bathroom." I said, "How's the telephone going to help you use the bathroom?" And it was a little bit of a fight. And I finally said, "Hey, you know what? Do what you're going to do." I said, "But when you come back, that needs to be in your pocket. Otherwise, we're leaving." He came back. It took him a while to come back, but then he put it in his pocket. And it didn't come out the rest of till we left the rest of it.
Great.
But it was hard if you have two parents, like the same example I just gave you. I'm not for it. The other parent is for it. So how do we even do that struggle? Because when we think about, I always say our children are our future. I say that all the time. And if we don't monitor what they're looking at, and I understand the value of even video games because it's hand-to-eye coordination, but how much video games, how much screen time, how much television time? Do we even know what they're watching on YouTube? Do we know what they're watching when they get on the internet? Do we know what television shows they're watching? Because a lot of even the old television shows, Tom and Jerry was very violent. As a kid, I grew up watching Tom and Jerry. I grew up
The Roadrunner.
Roadrunner, Casper the Friendly Ghost, Magilla Gorilla, all these other shows. And there was a lot of violence in those shows. My parents never monitored that when I was a kid. And now you have all these adult cartoons. Why do we have to have adult cartoons? When a kid sees it's a cartoon, they're going to want to watch it. And they don't know that's an adult content until it's already too late.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really our key message, is that screen time needs to be educational, and it needs to be co-viewed or monitored by a parent. The earlier we start forming the habits of children and developing a positive relationship with screen time, the better off they'll be for when they get older and they start getting into more of the social media. My area of focus is that birth to 5. And believe me, there's enough work to do. Just birth to 5. The 6 to 18 is a whole new ball game with social media and Snapchats and anxiety and depression and relationships. And oh my gosh, we also have a task force for that as well. It is just, we need to have these conversations, and we need to have them more often. I've been going to libraries, meeting parents in small groups, trying to get the message out to be mindful. We have the 4 M's, and the American Academy has the 5 C's, but they're very similar. It's about monitoring, and it's about co-viewing. It's about, coming up with a family plan and developing your rules. You have to have rules, just like you have rules for how to drive. You have rules for what time you want to go to bed. You have rules around the house. Where's the rules? No screens in the bed. No screens at the dinner table. 1 hour a day if you're 3 to 5 is what we're recommending. 0 if you're under 2. Yeah.
Oh, well, that means that those carriages are going to be empty. They're going to have toys in there.
Imagine that. What will they do? Yeah, it's about getting that message in, and on top, the research is just so clear, Sifu. The associations with your heavier screen time use that's non-educational and not co-viewed is linked to decreased language development. It's impacting our kids' development of their vocabulary and their sentence structure and their learning of the world. It is impacting on their sleep. They're not getting enough sleep. And we know the research I'm particularly paying attention to it now, the association with early dementia when you're not getting enough sleep. So you don't want to be disrupting your sleep when you're 2 and 3 and 4. My gosh, you need to start off better, in a better place than that. And behaviors. I think one of the things that really worries me is parents using the screen to calm their children, because you're running the risk they're not going to learn to have that self-regulation. because you're having this extrinsic pressure on them through influence on them through the screen to help them to calm. And the screen's not always going to be there. There's throughout their whole life, there's going to be situations that they need to learn how to do that skill a lot earlier on. And so that's a really powerful one. Try use other methods of calming your children. Acknowledge their emotions and their feelings. It's okay to be sad right now. And you can be sad, but in 5 minutes, we're going to be doing this. So don't just stick an iPad in front of their face because they start to cry.
I got to say that there's a lot of things that a child needs to get through. One is they need to be bored so they can think of creativity. They also need to be able to fail without somebody stepping in every minute. No helicopter parents, right? One of the things in my martial arts school, when I have 4 and 5 year olds, they put on full gear and they go for it, right? Of course, I'm monitoring them. The ones that hit too hard, I'm telling them, calm down. But when the kid falls down, a lot of the parents run to help them up. I say, nope, stop, sit back down. And even my instructors are not allowed to help a kid up at all. They have to get up on their own. Now, if a kid starts to cry, I don't allow the parents to run to them. I don't even let the kid run to them. I get in the way and I say, what's going on? What's going on? Do you need a drink of water? Okay. And the water is not by their parents, because all the parents in my facility sit on chairs and the kids have to put their water bottles and their bags on the other side of the room. So if I ever give them a drink, they have to, when I say go get a drink, they're not running to their parents. They're being independent. So kids need independence. They need to be able to fail. I'll see kids who are upset because they're not getting something right, and they may want to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to them, I say, why are you crying? Because I'm not getting it. I said, okay. I said, you see him over there? You see her over there? You know why they're not crying? Because they kept trying. And if you keep trying, you're going to get it and you're not going to cry anymore. Okay. All right. So keep going. So they need to learn to fail. They need to be bored. They don't need entertainment 24/7. It's okay to sit there in your thoughts. It's okay to sit alone. We don't have to hold their hands the whole time. And if we can teach the kids all these different things, we can have a better future. If they're our future, we need to teach them resiliency. And these are the lessons how we teach them. Let them be bored. There's nothing to do. Find something to do. Look around the house. There's something. Really, there's nothing to do? Go clean your room. Right? You're bored. Good. Go throw out the garbage. Go pick up the leaves. Go do this. Go do that. Find something. I'm not going to tell. There's a lot of things that can take the boredom away, but you need to find it. And if you think there's nothing to do, then just sit there. Sit with your thoughts. But we forget. And instead, we give them a tool that's not going to make them sharper. It's going to drain their brain. And that tool is the screen time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a quick example, kind of just stems from exactly what you're saying, but so early on, the reaction of the parent. And in order to start building the kids' regulation, we have to let them see our reaction to what happens. So they're 18 months old and they fall and they think, oh, am I hurt? And they look up at their parent. Am I hurt? Am I okay? I'm going to cry. And if the parent is saying, oh my gosh, you're hurt, you fell, then they're going to say, yeah, I'm hurt. Oh my gosh, I'm hurt. It's called co-regulation. And versus a parent who says, oh, you fell, okay, get up. And the child goes, oh, okay, I guess I'm okay. It starts way, way early. and we build from there, and how to teach them how to regulate their own emotions.
That's so funny that you said that, because I see it constant. I see it in my martial arts school where kids fall down and they're looking to see if anybody's going to do that.
Mhm.
And when nobody does it, they're like, okay. And then they move on, right? And then later on when they fall, for example, I had a young kid who scraped his knees yesterday before coming to Kung Fu. His dad texted us and he said, my son got hurt today. I don't know how well he's going to be doing when he comes to class. We're still coming. I said, okay. When he gets there, the kid did not show any signs. And his kid actually, after his dad cleaned him up and put a bandage on, he goes, I'm excited to go to Kung Fu today.
Oh, very
I'm
good.
excited. And during Kung Fu, he never complained once, because the father understood, and because the father has in the past told me, oh, he's not, I'm like, why are you staying home? So he can sit and be miserable? Just bring him to class.
Mhm.
And
That's
so dad listened to me. And now he gets it. But if it wasn't me guiding him to say, just bring him to class, then he would have stayed home and been miserable. Well, I say, listen, have a pity party for 5 minutes after that. No more.
Yeah, and you're getting them that much older. You know, and so you can see how important it is, and how many times, I mean, thousands of times from the time they were your age, seeing them from when they were a year old. It's really, it's that co-regulation, and our ability to influence how they regulate their emotions is huge.
Yeah. Thank you, Gabby, for being here with us. And by the way, we are ending the show at this point. Jackie, what an exceptional human being you are. I love the stories of your grandma. Everybody, do me a favor. You need to share this episode with somebody who needed to hear those stories. Do yourself a favor. If you missed any portion of it, go back and see it, because what a powerful conversation I think you and I had. And Jackie, I need you on so many of my other shows. Yes, I do have 10. I'd love to have you on it, because your excitement, your energy, and what you bring to the world is very much needed. And I got to tell you, I have a show in particular. It's called Speaking Prowess, and that's all based on communication. And my gosh, we need you there as well. All my shows, but yeah, particularly that one. I can't wait to have you on again. Thank
But we'll
you, Chad.
talk again. Thank
So,
you so much for having me, Sifu. Take care.
absolutely. So, how can somebody reach out to you? What we
Yeah,
have your
email, my website, email, and Expressive Edge is the name of my company. My email is up there, Jackie at expressiveedge.ca, and the website is expressiveedge.ca as well.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Reach out to her. She's exceptional. I am so blessed that I was able to. I drove to Canada from New York. It took me 9 hours. Right? It was worth every minute. The drive was worth every minute just to meet you. And I did not know I was meeting you. But
Likewise.
that
Glad you
was a
came.
gift. That was a gift. So thank you.
Thanks so much for your kind words.
All right, everybody, have a blessed day. Jackie, hang out for a minute while we say goodbye to everybody. Everybody, see you next time. Take care.